Elvis Presley's journey to stardom began with a simple recording that would change the landscape of music forever. In 1953, a young Elvis walked into Studio B at Sun Records, and everything shifted. His rendition of My Happiness, originally a hit for Ella Fitzgerald, showcased a voice that was both sweet and powerful, with just a hint of falsetto that made listeners lean in closer. This wasn't just any voice, it was the voice of a phenomenon. Even without the backing of a big record label, Elvis had it all together: the voice, the presence, the something intangible that made people take notice. But what if we rewind a bit? Before My Happiness, Elvis had already made his mark with That's All Right, Mama, a song that took the world by storm when released in 1954. It was a raw, electric performance, one that showcased Elvis's unique style blending country, blues, and gospel. Sam Phillips, the visionary producer at Sun Records, knew he had something special. He experimented with the recording, adding echo to amplify the excitement, creating a sound that was as revolutionary as it was captivating. This track wasn't just a hit, it was the birth cry of rock and roll. To understand the magnitude of Elvis's debut, let's compare it to other iconic first recordings. Take Harry James and Frank Sinatra's From the Bottom of My Heart in 1939. Sinatra's voice, though sweet, hinted at the star he would become, but it was a subtle start. Fast forward to Hank Williams in 1942, recording I'm Not Coming Home Anymore. Despite the crackles and hisses, his song captured a raw emotion that resonated deeply. Each of these artists, like Elvis, had a unique sound, but it was Elvis who ignited a cultural explosion. Elvis's first official Sun recording, My Happiness, while a hit in its own right, was overshadowed by the seismic That's All Right, Mama. This song, recorded just a year later, was a masterclass in simplicity and power. With just a vocalist, two guitars, and a stand-up bass, Elvis created a sound that was both intimate and explosive. Producer Sam Phillips understood the potential and enhanced it with echo, making it feel like a live performance in the listener's living room. This was more than just music, it was a declaration that the rules were about to change. The impact of That's All Right, Mama cannot be overstated. It was a song that spoke of heartache and longing, delivered with a confidence that was both endearing and intimidating. Elvis's voice, with its slight falsetto and soulful tone, brought a new depth to popular music. The song became a defining moment, not just for Elvis but for the entire genre. It was a bridge between old and new, blending the traditions of blues and country with a fresh, energetic twist. As we reflect on Elvis's early work, it's clear that his first recordings were just the beginning. They set the stage for a career that would redefine what was possible in music. The raw energy, the innovative sound, and the undeniable charisma of those early tracks laid the foundation for a legacy that continues to inspire and captivate audiences to this day. Elvis didn't just record songs, he changed the way we experience music forever. In the early days of rock and roll, several young artists made their mark, trying to capture the attention of fans and industry insiders alike. Chet Atkins, a well-known guitarist, saw potential in two brothers and their ability to create music that would resonate with both teenagers and country music lovers. He gave them a chance to record with an established artist, Carl Smith, and his group, the Tunesmiths. This led to the creation of some memorable songs in just half an hour. The result was a blend of hillbilly music, reminiscent of Hank Williams but with those catchy harmonies that made it stand out. It was a solid start, earning a rating of 6. Around the same time, Gene Vincent was making waves with his unique sound. His song Be Bop A Lula was inspired by a comic book character and a fictional girl's name. The song had an intriguing concept and an unforgettable sound, thanks to its heavy use of echo. Recorded in Nashville with producer Ken Nelson, it showcased Vincent's potential, even if his personal troubles later hindered his success. The song is considered a classic debut, deserving a high score of 10. Not far behind, Buddy Holly was also leaving his mark. Influenced by Elvis Presley, Holly was signed to a record label and recorded songs in Nashville. His track Blue Days, Black Nights was well received, praised for its recording quality and influence from Chet Atkins' guitar style. The song could have been a bigger hit if Holly had stuck to his rockabilly roots. Given its quality, it gets an 8. In 1957, two young musicians, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, known as Tom and Jerry, tried to emulate the Everly Brothers. Their single, Hey Schoolgirl, caught the attention of many and did well in the charts. Despite their early success, the duo's career didn't last long. Their performance is remembered but rates a modest 6. The following year, the Quarrymen, the early version of the Beatles, recorded That'll Be the Day and In Spite of All the Danger. Recorded in a home studio in Liverpool, their take on the Crickets' hit was decent, especially considering the state of British rock and roll at the time. The B-side, co-written by the young Paul McCartney and John Lennon, showed promise. This early work earns a 7. Johnny Kidd and the Pirates released their debut single, Please Don't Touch, in 1959. This energetic track, with its menacing undertones, showcased Johnny Kidd's unique sound. Although it only reached number 26 in the UK charts, its impact was significant. The song's raw energy and Kidd's distinctive style earned it a solid 7. The Beach Boys made their mark in 1961 with Surfin'. Written by Brian Wilson, the song combined doo-wop style with surfing themes, creating something entirely new. Their unexpected success with this single laid the groundwork for their future hits. The Beach Boys' early work is celebrated and gets an impressive 8. In the same year, Bob Dylan released his debut album. Recorded in just 2 days, the album featured Dylan playing guitar and harmonica, singing songs that paid homage to Woody Guthrie and showcased his unique talking blues style. His raw talent and distinct voice set him apart, earning this early work a near-perfect score of 9. Just a few months later, the Beatles released their first single as a band, Love Me Do. Although unremarkable on the surface, the song highlighted their talent and potential. It reached the UK top 20, hinting at their future success. This early effort is given an 8, with room to imagine it could rate even higher. The Kinks released Long Tall Sally in 1964, inspired by the Beatles' popularity. While it did moderately well in the charts, it lacked the edge that defined the Kinks' later work. The song is seen as a stepping stone, earning a 5. Around the same time, the Beefeaters, the early version of the Byads, released Please Let Me Love You. Influenced by the Beatles, their folk rock sound was promising but lacked the magic that would come later. Their effort gets a 5, with the magic of their future hits still to come. Tom Jones, a powerful singer from South Wales, released Chills and Fever in 1964, a reworking of an existing song. Despite not being a huge hit, it showcased his talent, earning a 7. Lastly, Davy Jones, later known as David Bowie, released Lisa Jane in 1964. Backed by a group called the King Bees, the song was a routine R&B track that didn't hint at the iconic artist he would become. It received a 4, a humble start for the future star. Bluesology, the early version of Elton John's band, released Come Back Baby in 1965. While not a major hit, it showed potential and is remembered for its place in musical history. Each of these early recordings offers a glimpse into the beginnings of iconic artists and bands. Despite varying degrees of success at the time, they all contributed to the rich tapestry of rock and roll history, showcasing raw talent, innovative sounds, and the drive to make their mark on the music world. Let's talk about some early rock and roll music and the story of how it all started to take shape. Back in the early 1950s, a man named Sam Phillips owned a recording studio in Memphis called Sun Records. He had a big dream. Sam wanted to find a white singer who could sing like a black artist and make lots of people fall in love with his music. This was a tricky time as music was very segregated, but Sam had a vision. Before Sam became famous for discovering rock and roll stars, he tried out different artists. One day, Elvis Presley walked into his studio. Elvis had been coming a few times before just to check out the vibe. Sam didn't jump at the chance right away. But Elvis kept coming and Sam started to see something special. Elvis recorded some songs in 1954. One of these songs was "I'll Never Stand in Your Way." It was a sad but sweet tune, kind of like another song that a different singer, Billy Walker, had made popular. Another song was "It Wouldn't Be the Same Without You." This song had been made famous by a Western movie star, Jimmy Wakely, but with a different twist. There's a story about another song, "Casual Love Affair," but it's probably just a mix-up. Elvis didn't bring that one to Sun Records, and there's no proof it even exists. Sam Phillips had a famous wish he'd share with his assistant, Marion Kasker. He said, "If I could find a white boy who could sing like a black man, I'd make a fortune." Many black artists had already made it to the top with songs that white artists had then made pop hits out of. Sam wanted that magic formula. While Sam liked to control things, he eventually listened to Marion. She had a great ear for talent. Among the many musicians who recorded at Sun, some were black, but Sam also recorded white artists. One of these was the Ripley Cotton Chompers, who recorded a country song called Blues Waltz. Sam labeled it as hillbilly music to sell more records. There's a big question in music history: what was the very first rock and roll record? This is tricky because lots of songs from that time could fit the bill. Some people point to Fats Domino's "The Fat Man," recorded in 1950, as a strong contender. Another is Rocket 88, recorded by Jackie Brenston and his Delta Cats at Sun in 1951. Muddy Waters, Hank Williams, and even Frank Sinatra, who disliked rock and roll, had songs that some think helped shape this new sound. In the end, Elvis Presley became a huge star and changed music forever. His music mixed country, blues, and gospel, creating something fresh and exciting. Sam Phillips' dream came true when he signed Elvis, and the world was forever changed by the sound of rock and roll.